Hello.
Hello, everybody. How's it going?
How are you, Tiffany?
I'm doing pretty good. Today's my rest week, so I don't know if you tell, I feel a little rested.
Yeah, you look great. You look very rested.
Oh, thank you. I could actually totally go to sleep right now too, though. Welcome, everyone, to our podcast show, Knowledge to Inspire. I am Tiffany Patlin, author of Unlocking Your Ability to Heal.
I'm Lauren Patterson, author of Freeing Your Heart for Love.
And our sole purpose is to discuss a variety of topics, both popular and taboo. We will be sharing our personal experiences and present experts, inspiring guests, professionals, and upcoming authors, all with the wisdom and knowledge to inspire you. What are we toasting to today, Lauren?
I'm actually toasting from my son and my daughter-in-law. They just bought a house.
Oh, that's a big deal. That's amazing.
In San Jose. You know how expensive it is in San Jose. Yeah, they planned for it for the last 10 years and they did it. Wow. They bought a house. It reminds Gary, because you live in Utah, it reminds him of the Utah homes because it's tri-level. So it has the bedroom on the bottom with the living room, and then you go up to the second level, which is the other living room, the kitchen, and then the third level has all the bedrooms.
Yeah, we have a 3-level.
Yeah. So it's really, really, I'm so proud of my son. I can't believe my son bought a house before me. Like, he bought it before me. And then I was like, oh, is this the grandma den down here? This is where you're going to move me in one of these days because you're not putting me in a retirement home.
Did he agree?
My daughter-in-law did. I was like, this is where I'm moving in. It's either one of you 4 boys are going to move me in if something happens to Gary, because I'm not going to a home. Like, you guys will be taking me in when I can't remember anything.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, so I already picked out my room. I'm like, oh, this is going to be my room down here.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Congrats.
Yeah. What are you toasting to today, Tiffany?
I'm just toasting to the fact that I finally, thanks to our next guest that's about to come on, I did a class with her and she gave the best advice ever, which was to schedule yourself lighter, around your menstruating week. And I don't know why I never thought of this before, but it was like the most massive breakthrough in my entire life, besides everything else that I did. But it was amazing. And today's my reset week, and it's been really nice. So I love it. I'm totally celebrating that. And if anybody out there is not already doing that, please start doing that. And you will notice how amazing you feel. And then you come back to fight harder and work harder. It's awesome. So I'm celebrating that.
So you're going to do that every month. You're going to clear your calendar and then just take time to listen to your body and do a lot of self-care, self-love stuff.
Nourishment, big time self-nourishment and self-care, self-love and relaxation and cuddling with my babies.
Oh, and did you watch the movie?
No, my children don't really. I looked at the previews and I was like, oh, yep, can't watch this with my children. So
yeah, the I Care a Lot. Okay, yeah. It's not for kids. Yeah. I could have told you that.
I didn't know.
It's probably too violent for children.
My 3-year-old and 5-year-old, yeah, they're in the mocking stage. So like if they're watching a particular cartoon and I notice that they're copying a certain something, I'm like, yeah, no, we're not watching that anymore. And I let them know. I'm like, well, you guys are copying their behavior and I don't like that. So, my son likes to find certain cartoons for them to watch. And I'm very protective when it comes to cartoons and certain things, because you know how the internet is and everything is. It's crazy. So yeah. I monitor what my children watch. And I figure if they're going to watch something on TV, why not make it educational? And it's been proven to work, at least with my kids, because my 3-year-old's over here adding already. I swear I say he's getting like a higher education because of my 5-year-old, because he copies everything he does.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, sure, copy that stuff. That's the good stuff.
Yeah, my 2 younger kids, they're not younger, they're 19 and 15, but they don't watch TV. They don't watch TV because up until Gary moved in, my husband, we never had the TV on. Like all day, I don't watch TV. And when he comes home, he loves Survivor. He goes upstairs and watches reruns. He's in probably season 20. He's watching them all. He wants to go on Survivor. I'm like, no, you're not in any way, shape, or form to go on Survivor. So you are not going on Survivor. But like my kids don't watch TV, but now my grandkids, they have their little iPad, and you know everything's on the iPad. So Mason watches his iPad, but I never turn the TV on. I mean, I don't even watch the news. I just once in a while I get that binge of where I want to watch Keeping Up with the Kardashians. But
all have that time where we should have that time, right? We should have been allowed to just have that moment where we could sit down maybe with our favorite healthy snack, you know, and just sit there and just watch something, you know, whatever we want, whatever makes us feel good. That's like self-care.
I know. I'm only like when I watch it though, Keeping Up with the Kardashians, I only watch like 2 episodes and then I turn it off.
That's good. That's good discipline.
Well, because you can get sucked into that, you know, and then we were just talking about comparing, right? And then I start comparing my life. I'm like, wow, I wish I had what does she have? Kylie just bought a black, I think it was a Bentley with custom pink interior leather seats. And I mean, Tiffany, it was so cute. And I'm like, I want that.
Start manifesting, put it on your vision board.
Yeah, and they're in the final season where they rented this house in Malibu and they did a staycation, and it literally, Tiffany, oh my God, the view. It's right over the ocean that has stairs down to the beach, and it's a beautiful home. And I'm like, I want to stay there, but you know, you start like comparing. I start comparing my life. Which, you know, and then I just have to turn it off. I'm like, okay, back to reality.
You can always put that stuff on your vision board and start doing that mind shift and start manifesting that you can live in a house by a beach if you really want to.
Yeah, that I am manifesting that.
Are you really?
That's the Malibu home? I don't know about that Malibu home though. That Malibu home was had to be millions.
Home by the beach.
Millions of dollars at home. I mean, it had a pool in the backyard. I mean, oh my gosh, gorgeous. I was like, wow.
We're manifesting like I want to make our own lake, like our own man-made lake. And that's kind of out there, but I'm like, I don't care. I'm going to manifest it because that's what I really want.
Yeah.
I just think it would be really cool.
Did you write it down and think about it every day?
No. Sometimes certain days I'll manifest for my business, you know, things with business. Sometimes I do it for my financial wealth. Sometimes I do it for just random different things. So it's never the same thing every day. Yeah. So sometimes, not all the time. I do need to create a new vision board though.
Yeah. So Tiffany, let's just, I know we're going to talk at the end, but let's briefly tell people about our upcoming June event. Do you want to share that?
Go ahead. My brain's a little slow, so I'm going to let you take the lead. My brain's still relaxing, okay?
Okay. So we have an upcoming, Tiffany's brilliant. She has so many brilliant ideas. But we are going to start an event every month, once a month on the first Saturday of the month. It's called Knowledge to Inspire You Virtual Speaking Events, where we will bring on, similar to our podcast, but bringing on guests specific to a topic for that month. So, for example, next month is PTSD Awareness Month. So we have guests who have either suffered from PTSD or who have knowledge about PTSD, coaches, teachers, how to get through the trauma. So we are bringing them on next month on June 5th, and you can watch it in our private Facebook group. So right here on the little ticker banner right there, I put go and join our Facebook group to watch it for free, and spread the word, because we will be doing this every month. First Saturday of the month. It's going to be fun. We're going to be inviting different speakers, and yeah, we just want to share more knowledge in the world.
Yep. More knowledge and wisdom to inspire you.
Yes.
I'm excited about it.
Me too.
We're looking for a DJ. So if anybody knows a DJ that would like some exposure and is willing to donate maybe an hour of their time, send them our way. We would love to support and help out. And, you never know, they could come on with us. And as we continue to grow, this could be a great, amazing thing we can build together.
Yes. So let's bring on Emy. She goes by Emy because I'm so excited to talk to her. So let's not wait 5 minutes.
She's awesome.
Okay, so I want to bring her on. Hi, Emy.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi. Thank you.
Did I pronounce that right, Emy?
You did. Yep.
Okay.
Short and sweet.
Awesome. Thank you for joining us. I'm just going to read your bio real quick so that our viewers and listeners can know a little bit about you. So Emy Crinklaw-Bunch is founder and CEO of Emily Ruth Health. She helps CEOs create the energy and focus they crave to help them handle all their business tasks with grace and end their days with enough steam to enjoy the amazing lives they've built. They use coaching to help them create awareness of the things they've been tolerating and dismissing. And they teach them how to live in harmony with their female physiology so that they can leverage their secret power to make life easier.
Heck yeah.
So excited. So Tiffany, you and Emy know each other.
Yes. I know her from the advanced group that we're both a part of, the advanced community. And she came in to speak, to share about, menstrual health for women. And I was like, I've been on this path of wanting to learn more about it. So when she came on and shared, I was just like, I was in love with her from after such a moment. So, and then I invited her to come on because I think she's got amazing information that a lot of us women would benefit from hearing. So, Emy, how did you get started in all this? Can you share?
Sure. Yeah. Well, first, I would just want to say thank you so much for having me on. It's very exciting to be on somebody else's podcast. How did I get started? So I actually had been working as an X-ray tech in the hospital for 15 years up until August of 2020. And as soon as I finished X-ray school back in 2007, I was like, this is not what I want to do. I love connecting one-on-one with people and being there to support them for, the few minutes that I can in the X-ray room. But I really want to help people make lifestyle changes that help them avoid the hospital and minimize their doctor's visits. So it took a while for me to find that right path for me. And in the meantime, I'd made the best of my X-ray career and concentrated on my own health. And through that journey, I was having what I felt like were minor health problems. And I don't want to go too graphic here on a massive audience on YouTube, but just having some bowel troubles. And then also really just when I met my husband, I was realizing I was not feeling as energized as I wanted. My libido was less than where I wanted it to be. And I think, just being with a long-term partner and, living side by side with somebody and really realizing like, I just don't have the energy that I feel like I used to, and to keep up, with going on the adventures that he and I had planned for our lives together. So I had also been experiencing some weird just discomfort and itchiness down in the groin area, and was seeing my GYN every month for about 6 months. And so finally she was like, when nothing came, like all the test results were normal, she couldn't find anything. She was like, let's take you off the NuvaRing. And I was like, yeah, why didn't we think about that a while ago? And so that helped my symptoms a tiny bit. And it was enough of a shift that I was like, because she switched me to an oral contraceptive. And I was like, okay, well, I think I want to just go off the hormones completely. But I was 28 years old. And even with all of my knowledge in medical training, anatomy and physiology, and even having imaged women's specific imaging for several years, I was completely unaware of how our menstrual cycles and ovulation and all the hormones actually work. So when my husband's cousin, who I had been working with for a while, was like, oh, I chart my fertility both to avoid pregnancy for the past 10 years and to plan the child that I just had, I was like, what? And it took me like a good year and a half of charting and doing research and reading like all of the books to get my husband on board as something that we could like this was a method we could trust as well. But through that journey, I, got to know my body a lot better. I was able to, a lot of my symptoms improved. It later turned out that some of it was probably related to mold exposure. But it just kind of basically the past 10 years that I have been diving deeper and deeper into that understanding of my body and incorporating not just like the pure scientific symptomatic aspect, but also the energetic component of, like Tiffany was saying about how you've decided to rest now during your period, like incorporating that aspect and trying to plan my whole life more in line with my hormones. Has just made a tremendous difference. So, my healing journey has incorporated a lot of different things, but the major aspect for me, especially once I found health coaching, I was like, what a wonderful way to teach women the things that we should have been taught a long time ago. Normalize, the fluctuations of our hormones, and what a powerful way to, use that to move forward with our lives. And like I say, that our secret superpower, like once you start kind of aligning your life with your hormone cycle, it just becomes so much easier to get things accomplished because you're taking advantage of the brain changes and the metabolic changes and working with them rather than trying to do things out of phase or trying to show up and do the same things every single day, because we're not the same. We change throughout the month and throughout the years. So, that's kind of how I ended up bringing everything together. And I work with my clients to create the awareness, around things that they're overlooking, and also teaching them how to live in harmony with their hormones.
Harmony with your hormones. I love it so much. I know you got questions, Lauren.
Well, I was just thinking, does your teachings or guidance work for, like, for example, I had my uterus and my fallopian tubes removed a couple years ago, but I still get the symptoms around my period, my menstruating time, because I still have my ovaries.
Yes.
So could I still, like for someone like me, could I still practice your regimen of that week that you're down? Because I don't know, like what I'm experiencing now. I go through hot flashes, and I mean, I'm angry sometimes. Sometimes I cry a lot. Right. Sometimes I eat too much.
Yeah. So because you still have your ovaries, you still are producing the same hormones and cycling. So you can totally use this method and kind of to, the energetic and metabolic changes are still happening. I'm guessing, given what you said about having your son and his wife buying a house, that you are probably approaching menopause.
I'm going to be 49. I think I'm going through premenopause, but a lot of gynecologists have told me you're too young.
So perimenopause is generally, like, regardless of what our symptoms are, they kind of label it as it starts around 35-ish. And it's a very slow, gradual decline. Like it takes up to 20 years for us to, go from what's termed perimenopause to reaching that point where we say, okay, menstruation has stopped and all the cycling hormones have stopped and reached, the phase that, older traditions would refer to as the crone or wise woman phase. But within that, the hot flashes and the PMS type symptoms, we can look back at the previous roughly decade of, when your cycles were regular, if they're not now, what were you experiencing? What were the lifestyle changes that you were making, and have an understanding of how that's impacting what you're going through now. And we can make tweaks and adjustments, because as you approach that stage, because of just what's happening in the ovaries, women tend to, like, especially the closer you get to reaching actual menopause, lack of estrogen becomes a problem. But prior to that, like a lot of the most common period symptoms, painful periods, heavy periods, wild PMS, is generally associated with too much estrogen in relationship to progesterone. So we kind of, if we were to dive, talk one-on-one and dive deeper into your symptoms, we could sort of figure out, okay, what's happening, and, what's happening with your hormones, how close may you be to, if you're having erratic periods and long stretches, that would indicate that you're closer to menopause. But if you're still pretty regular, then we'd say, okay, you're still growing strong. So how do we beef up the progesterone and help you metabolize and excrete the excess estrogen so that we can get those things balanced so that you're feeling good and stable throughout your cycle.
Thank you.
Sure.
Yeah, that's good stuff. I just want to touch on, like, everything that she was saying. I recently did that, and I'm noticing already how amazing it is. And it's just like she said, we're changing every week. So, and like the perfect message that I love that she shares is that we should live our lives in alignment with our menstrual cycle. And it's just crazy to me, because it's like, I'm almost I'll be 39 this year, and I never thought about doing that. I've been struggling and fighting with it this entire time. And it's just amazing. I urge everybody to do that. And the other reason why I like that we're doing this, because this is good information for men, because just like women were not taught, men were not taught. So men don't understand what we're going through. They just see us and think we're crazy. And if they learned and if they understood, they could better support us. Like with my husband, he has learned and he's seen and he knows. So he knows what to say, what not to say. He knows he knows what foods I should be eating. So when I'm feeling down and out, if he makes me food, he knows to get me the foods that are blood building foods. Like, there's obviously the red meat, but like the dark leafy greens. And this is stuff that I've been learning ever since, I found Emy. I'm like, oh my gosh, I got to dig deeper. This is great stuff. But what would you say about that, about the guys knowing?
Yeah, 100%. This is, while it's women specific information, it's important to humans, because men were born, like at minimum, you have a mother, right? You have sisters, they're gonna, get married and have, girlfriends, wives, daughters, nieces. Like we're all interconnected, and we can't live, without the other half of society. So, and to your point, Tiffany, about being supported by a partner, like I was charting, but I wasn't paying attention to like the energetic and mood aspects. And so there would be a couple of times where I very clearly remember just getting frustrated, in either being in tears or getting into a fight with my husband, and him being like, your period's about to start, isn't it? And I would get furious. Like, how dare you know my body better than I do? How dare you say such a thing? Because I think culturally it's kind of, it's this thing that like, oh, she's about to get her period. She's on the war path, like all those things. And like at that time, I was like, unfortunately, there is a bit of reality to it. But now, working in tune with my cycle for so long, charting and paying attention to like, okay, I know when it's coming, and I can give myself the space, like you said, like taking the time to rest and honor what my body needs. And also just knowing mentally that that's where I am helps me to be like, okay, it's not that bad. Let me just take a breath and regroup. So like there's still, because of the way the hormones fluctuate, we're all, even when things are perfectly balanced, we're going to have a sense of feeling like frustration, perhaps, compared to the previous phases. But when you get to a point where you feel like, if you're breaking down in tears, if you feel like you need anger management help and it's disrupting your life, then that's an indication that things are out of whack. And let's dive deeper and find out what the root cause is, where the imbalance is, and make tweaks to get things adjusted so that it feels more like gentle waves rather than a tsunami crashing over you.
Yeah, seriously.
I could just visualize tsunami. Like, oh my God, here it comes. So what is the craziest thing you've seen in this business, in your industry?
I'm not sure that I would qualify it as crazy per se, but the most exciting thing that I've experienced was working with 2 clients, both of which who were getting headaches like regularly. One qualified hers as migraines. The other, they probably were migraines, and she was downplaying it a bit. But they would both just at least once a week, they were getting headaches, and just really just kind of tolerating and putting up with them. And through our work together and them creating, like they both were taking care of themselves, eating, doing some, one was exercising very religiously and regularly. The other was, pretty good about movement. But during our work together, realizing that they were, even though they were caring for themselves, they were really still prioritizing work because they loved their businesses. They wanted to provide the best of their services for their clients. And so they would just work too hard and not take the time to rest. And so one gal in particular, when she, scaled back on the work and set a time off at night to quit and to actually get in bed on time and be fully rested, for her, that was like, oh, headaches just went away. She just needed a little bit more rest and sleep. And then the other gal, we played with her diet and tweaked nutritional choices. And sugar was part of it, but there was something else, and I can't remember what the food item was, but we figured out that was kind of the catalyst for most of her migraines. And so she started choosing to eliminate those things from her diet and sort of and reframing her food choices. Like she loves to go out to eat. She's a foodie, but instead of looking at it like, oh, this is the only time I'm going to come to this restaurant, I have to try all the things, sort of reframing it as like, I can come back here anytime I want. And there's always, a chance to try something new the next time I come back. And so being able to kind of look at it from a mindset more of abundance and plenty, and so it made it easier for her to make the healthy choices. And once she made the connection that the sugar was linked to the migraines, then it made it even easier for her to say no. And then when she did want to have like a piece of cake to celebrate birthday, she was able to consciously say, okay, instead of a whole slice, I'm just going to have like 2 bites. And so still have that sweet celebration, because it was like her grandmother's homemade cake she only gets once a year. So still enjoying it, but not overdoing it and triggering another migraine. So it's those types of things that so far as the coaching aspect that have been
that's awesome.
the most aha fun. X-ray stuff, I could give you some crazy, wild stories that nobody, but cringeworthy. But so far in the coaching, nothing wild like that.
But those are great stories because, and I agree to that. It's crazy just how much our food affects us in so many different ways. You got to get your food right, and wow, it does amazing things. But I wanted to give you the opportunity to talk on, I'm sure you know about the chemicals that are in certain products that us females use, female hygiene products. If you just want to touch on that, like what you would say to people or.
Yeah. So I guess, and part of my own healing journey is when I decided to take out hormonal birth control, I also switched to reusable period products. So menstrual cups, reusable pad, like cloth pads, period panties. There's so many options out there today. I was even using some sea sponge tampons for a little while, which are, depending on your comfort level, either cool or gross. But you clean them with hydrogen peroxide and water between uses, and make sure that they're nice and clean. But I would, for as long as I could remember during my periods, I would just have like this ache in my vulva. And within a month after stopping using disposable like tampons and pads, that went away completely. Like that dull ache was gone. Cramping improved quite a bit. And so you think about that delicate tissue, it's a mucous membrane, but similar to inside our nose, our mouth, our eyes, and that tissue is super, it absorbs things into it and straight into the bloodstream very easily. And, pads, yes, they're external, but they're stuck nice and close up to your body all day long. And then especially tampons being internal, and, there's some great organic cotton, no chemical used disposable products if you want to go that route. But the traditional stuff, the things that you tend to see on most grocery stores over the past several decades, it's, made of like rayon, which is a type of plastic. The cottons that tend to be used are grown with all these pesticides. So you've got the pesticides in the cotton, and then they bleach the cotton to make it white. And so there's just all these mystery chemicals that are in these products that, and there's a bit of debate online about whether or not, they do have chemicals, whether or not they're safe. But everybody I've talked to who has made the switch feels a lot better really quickly. The reusable stuff is much cheaper and more environmentally friendly over a long period of time.
Yes.
And yeah, it's just, there's so many more options today. So you're not stuck to just pads or tampons. I love the period panties. I think that they're
I've never heard of those. What are those? Do you buy them like on Amazon, or I've never heard of those before?
Yeah, it's amazing what you can find on Amazon. There's a bunch of companies. Dear Kate and Thinks are the two that I have purchased from, but I've seen just probably, the way the internet feeds you things, there's so many other brands popping up. And sorry, my getting a weird reflection from outdoors.
So are they like, they're reusable panties with like absorbing it? Oh,
yeah. There's like several absorbent layers in the crotch area, and then depending on your flow, like I like to combine a cloth pad with the period panty when I'm flowing a little bit heavier. and then just swap out the cloth pad if I need to during the day. And then on light days, just wear the panties by themselves. And then you rinse them out, throw them in the wash, a lot like you would with reusable baby diapers.
Wow. I've never heard of those before. It's interesting you talk about the products, because I have been using for the longest time thong panty liners, since we're talking about products. And I wonder if it's contributing to stuff I feel, because I
make the switch.
I don't like discharge. And since we're talking about female problems, so I always get these panty liners, and it's the one that's on the shelf. So I'm wondering, I've never actually read like what's in it. I didn't even know there was like chemicals in these things. Like, I had no idea.
Well, that's the other thing. They're not required to disclose the manufacturing process.
Mm-hmm.
So like you can't even look at it and say, there are no ingredients listed.
Yeah.
Most of the time.
Right.
Granted, that could be changing. I have not purchased a disposable period product in 10 years. So
me neither. Well, not that long.
That's amazing. Yeah, this is really good knowledge for me, because I just go to Walmart and you just pull it off the shelf, and I can't. Carefree. Yeah. That's the brand I use. Mm-hmm. Carefree.
I used to use it.
Always, I just get those religiously. I don't never go without them. They're always in my purse. They're always, and I change it throughout the day. But you're right. It's so close to your body all day long, 7 days a week. I don't wear them at night. Yeah, but I do wear it during the day. So yeah, that's something my eyes are opening right now, because I'm just wow.
I personally like the cup. I switched to that, and I didn't at first. It took some getting used to, I have to admit. But the part that I like that Emy said is how it's environmentally friendly. And it's true. Mm-hmm. Think about how every time you buy the tampons and the pads, that's all going into the landfills, and it's not helping your environment. So I'm all for the reusable stuff. Go reusable.
Right. Wow. And the reusables, they're a bit of an upfront investment, but I mean, over time, the amount of money that you're saving is at least hundreds of dollars.
Because you usually buy the tampons plus the liners, right? And then you have the liner ones. So it adds up.
Yeah. And then you never have to worry about running out and being like, can somebody go to the store and get me some? It's right there.
Because I freak out. And then if I don't see them on the shelf, I'm like, oh, great. Now I got to go down to the brand I don't like. Because I just always get the pink box. Right. It's I go straight for that one.
Yeah, so this is good stuff. I'm glad. Is there any foods that you could share with everybody that would help for... Well, I mean, I did share about the red meats and the green leafy vegetables. Mm-hmm. That's for... What I learned was that those are blood-building foods, so those are good to have during your menstrual cycle. But I know there's something before that, the luteal phase, which I just came off of. See, I'm using those words, all because of you.
Yay! So I'll do a quick recap of the different phases. So your bleed or your period falls within the follicular phase, but from an energetic standpoint, we kind of separate that out, and you can think of it as inner winter, a time for rest, reflection, being cozy, eating cozy foods, perhaps looking back at the previous month or whatever period of time, and just reflection. And then, this is the point when our hormones are at their lowest. Then we move into the follicular phase, which we associate with springtime. And during that phase, estrogen is slowly rising. And I also like to think of estrogen as rose-colored glasses coming on. And so, this becomes particularly important when we get to the luteal phase, but these rose-colored glasses go on and they make us more sociable. We get along with people more easily. We overlook things that perhaps, other people wouldn't, maybe that we shouldn't be overlooking. But, the body is preparing itself for pregnancy. And in order to get pregnant, we got to get along with somebody so that we can mate. So then
this is funny. It reminds me of like Animal Planet or something.
It's so true, right?
Yeah. Because I believe that we are divine beings, but we are divine beings within an organic animal shell.
Yeah.
So there are aspects of us that are very primal and animalistic.
Right.
So you go through the follicular phase, estrogen is rising, the rose-colored glasses are on, life is good. It's a wonderful time to plan ahead. This is a perfect time for you to be doing your cardio, eating young foods like eggs and what are the little microgreens, like the sprouts of things. And then we move into ovulation, which ovulation itself is only a 24-hour event, but from an energetic and focus perspective, we give it roughly 3 to 4 days. And so estrogen's reaching its peak, and just after ovulation, progesterone is really high. And so the combination of these hormones, you feel on top of the world, you can do anything and everything. You're probably saying yes to all the things because you're like, I feel great, I can do it all. And this, you're ovulating. So from, if you want to get pregnant, this is the time when it's optimal for intercourse. And you're feeling very outgoing, wanting to socialize, party, have fun. It's, we can associate it with our own inner summer. So, summertime is when everybody likes to come out and party, lots of, dating.
Yes. The men need to know that. So that's
right.
You take your woman out on a date that week.
Yes.
So that's why you need to be in tune with her cycle. So you know this.
Yeah. Right. And it's when we can desire sex at any point during our cycle, but ovulation is when that desire kind of ramps up because again, the body's trying to get pregnant. During ovulation, this would be the one portion of your cycle where cooling foods you might crave them. And if you're not somebody who craves them, the one part of your cycle where they're easier to digest and where I would say they're not that there ever anything's forbidden at any point, but when we're optimizing hormones, try to limit cold foods, raw foods to just during the ovulation phase. And then after summer, we have fall or the luteal phase. And so estrogen has dropped a bit and progesterone is the dominating hormone. And since estrogen's kind of on the decline, those rose-colored glasses start coming off. And so we start seeing the world as it has always been, but perhaps judging ourselves for feeling crazy, for, perhaps partners feel like we're nitpicking, we're complaining. But I like to think of it as, we're just, if, the attempt to get pregnant has come and gone. And now we can say, okay, let's get down to serious work and business. This has to go, that has to stop. This needs to get done. So the luteal phase, just like our ancestors would have done in fall, it's a great time for, preparing for the winter, doing those detailed tasks, harvest, a great time for decluttering, both emotionally, physically, every sense of the way. And if you think back, a lot of us feel like just in the last week or so before our period starts, not wanting to socialize as much, but perhaps you committed to something while you were ovulating and you're sitting here like, I don't want to do this, but I felt like, what's wrong with me? I was so excited about it 2 weeks ago when I committed to it. Because you're in a different place now. and that's okay. So if we can be more aware of our cycle and where we are, and especially when we're, I mean, not as, like being aware of all of it, but when we're ovulating, being aware that we feel more capable, that we not say yes to things that we might not have the energy for in a week or two. And so just having that understanding can invite in more ease and personal grace for ourselves.
Gold. That's gold right there.
Awesome.
So, and then food-wise, I would say, the specific recommendations that I already gave, leafy greens and cruciferous vegetables are super important for everybody, but they also play a key role in metabolizing estrogen. So if you can get in a serving at every meal, which would be a serving is half a cup raw, and vegetables are easier to digest cooked, so it's not that much. So a serving of cruciferous and a serving of leafy greens, breakfast, lunch, and dinner is like, that's optimal. If you're starting way less than that, just try to, one serving extra per day for, a bit, and then just, gradually take little baby steps till you get to that point. But getting those nice fibrous, lots of minerals, lots of phytonutrients that are going to help you digest things better. They're going to help you metabolize that excess estrogen, and they're going to really help you balance out, the painful periods, the PMS, the mood swings that we associate with having too much estrogen. And because of the nature of how our cycle works, the previous 100 days determine the health and length of what your luteal phase and how much progesterone you're going to have. So the more you're making healthy lifestyle choices more consistently, then over time you'll start to see the progesterone levels kind of increase and balance out and offset the estrogen, especially if you're experiencing the painful periods, the heavy periods, and the PMS.
Wow. Awesome. So how can people find you? We're going to post it when we post this.
Yeah. So I'm on Instagram and Facebook at Emily Ruth Health. And my website is emilyruth.health. And I offer a complimentary 45-minute breakthrough call to everybody to help you figure out what's going on and create a strategy. And then if you're interested in working together, we can also discuss that.
Awesome. You won't be disappointed. I mean, just with that little thing, I was just like blown away. I mean, and that's why I'm so happy you came on. Thank you. It was a joy talking to you. And this is gold. So to all our listeners, share with your girlfriends. We all need to learn this stuff.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, right. Like, even if I don't end up working with anybody from a coaching perspective, like just being able to share this information and normalize it and get it out there to people is like, that's really what I'm here for.
Awesome.
I love that so much.
So,
Thank you. Thank you for coming. And we're so thankful you joined us today.
Thank you. It was so much fun talking to both of you, Lauren and Tiffany.
Yeah.
Thank you.
We'll have you back in the future. If you want to come on to our once a month events, just let us know.
Sure.
We'd love to have you on our once a month events.
Yeah, I'd love that. Thank you.
Okay. Thanks,
That'd be
Emmy.
awesome.
All right. Have a great day.
Bye.
Thanks, you too. Bye. All right, that was good stuff.
That was awesome. Yeah. I really need to practice all of that. I'm not educated in any of that stuff.
I wasn't either. And then that's why I'm telling you, she had that class and I was like, oh, it's a free class. Let me go get some knowledge on, right? Let me get my knowledge on. And I was blown away. You remember when I shared that with you? I was like, so I'm going to do that because I was struggling. Every month I was struggling and I hate it. And I know that women out there in the world are struggling too. So.
Oh yeah. And a lot of women don't know what they're going through too,
Yep. And like she said, we gotta normalize it. And men need to know. Share this with your husbands. They need to know. There's YouTube videos that you can play. She's willing to do a 45-minute, free breakthrough, so get on that, because once it's true, I can already experience it, and I haven't even gone through a full month yet, but I can already experience the benefits of just working in a line with my menstrual cycle. It's amazing.
Yeah, and so I want to end, Tiffany. I didn't bring my cards again. I keep forgetting, but we will pull one tomorrow because you're going to come on my live tomorrow. But I want to share this quote, which is, "You are perfect just the way you are. You don't have to be perfect to be amazing."
Mm.
So I shared that because we were talking about perfection, and my daily sip tip was, perfection is just a myth. So I thought that would go with our show today, because when we're all going through that monthly thing, you don't have to be perfect to be amazing. You can still be amazing and have all
That's
those body changes.
Yes. Yes. This was awesome. I love this topic. We got to normalize it.
Yes.
Share.
Yes. All right. So we will see
Do you have
everyone.
any last words about your book or anything that's going on? Any announcements?
I'm still selling my book. For 100% of the profits will go to Brain Change to Mind for Mental Health Awareness Month. That's about it. I am having a virtual private book launch party. That's for the people who pre-ordered the book. So if you pre-ordered the book, grab your ticket on Eventbrite. So yeah. What about you?
Let's see. What do I got going on? I have just opened up my one-on-one healing program. And if you're interested in learning how to, relieve your anxiety disorder or your depression, or you're just wondering why you keep hitting roadblocks, I'm opening myself up to one-on-one services for people who need guidance. And if you want to learn more about that, you can visit my website at tiffanypatlin.com. And you can always check out my book, Unlocking Your Ability to Heal. It's available on Amazon, the Kindle version, for 99 cents. Please feel free to share with anybody that needs help, that needs some inspiration, hope, and healing. That's there for them, for you guys. And I think that's it.
Awesome. See everybody next week. Same time.
Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.